All right,
Okay.
so we play here against Niklaus Giertz.
Yes, yeah, he was also a young player, very well prepared theoretically. And practically our game here will be home analysis for both. You know, almost the whole game. I'll tell you until where is the home analysis.
Yes, okay.
Well, this is the so-called Marozzi variation for white against the Sicilian. It started like an English opening, but finally we have the Marozzi variation from Sicilian, this line. Yeah. And it was considered to be the best for both, I mean, for white and for black. Black has some problems to try to equalize, but if he plays very well, it's almost even, but always a little bit better for white, you know. So, but you have to demonstrate how. The move order. So queen a5, f3, rook c8, yeah, b3, and here, what did he play here? a6, okay. So now you have to decide what to do. You have two moves. If you let him to play b5, black is all right, you know. He threatens to play b5.
Yeah.
So if he has time. Here you have to do something very quickly. Yeah, you have two moves here, knight d5 or knight a4. The only possibility to give some small advantage is knight a4. After knight d5 is almost draw. I mean draw, even. I mean, after knight d5, he can take the queen in d2. You have to take with the king. And then he takes in d5 with the bishop or with the knight, and then put a piece in d7 and try to trade everything on the c file. You know, if he has time to do this, is, you know, not draw but completely.
So
even,
if he takes here your queen, you take with the king?
With the king, yes.
Why? Why
because
not?
It's better to arrive with the other rook, you know, from h1 and c1.
Quick.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
okay.
So now knight a4. Well, it starts, you know. Here, home analysis for both, you know. I analyzed this with Tukmakov together. Tukmakov also a very strong Ukrainian grandmaster. In that time, one of the best in the world. We were very good relationship between us, and we analyzed together this. And we played later on in some very important international tournaments. And it was always good for white. White is slightly better in all the time, you know. I mean, a little bit, but almost enough. So, okay, king take d2. Now black has to be very careful, because if you let white to arrive in b6 and you don't have knight d7, is already very dangerous for black.
If it arrives with the knight, you mean?
Yeah, if you arrive in b6 with tempo, it's very good for white, you know. So knight d7 is all right. Rook c2 is the best idea, to try to double the rooks on the c file. Is the only way to try to do something, you know, on the queen side. And of course, he tries to have some counterplay on the other side, you know, with the f5. So, pardon. So now it was an interesting moment. He could take back with the bishop. After bishop takes f5, you play simply bishop d3, a little bit better for white all the time, you know, in every position. Okay, so he plays g takes f5, and now simply the other rook in c1. Okay, but a little bit better for white. So he has to try to find some counterplay. Rook c6, he wants to come with the other rook in c8, you know. And of course, f4 is very good. And now knight f6, he wants to come in e4, maybe, you know. This is the idea.
But why f4?
F4, I mean, after f4, you give him the move, and you forbid the possibility knight d7, e5. You see? And in the same time, the move f4. He was threatening also f4, you know, and put another piece in f5.
Yeah.
And with the knight in e5, it will be forever if he has the possibility to play f4. So you play yourself f4, and now bishop f3. Well, knight d4 check. Now simply, of course, you play king d3. To take in e4, it was a very bad mistake, because you lose the small advantage and you give the two bishops. It's not good, you know. So king d3, all right. So b5. Well, until here is more or less home analysis, you see, for both, for white and for black. But white keeps the advantage. White is better all the time, you know. So you have to take in b5, of course. He takes in c2, you take in c2, takes back, and now knight b6. Well, unpleasant for black, you see. What to do? Has to move something. Rook d8. And now, rook c7, knight c5. I mean, of course, you don't take. Now you play king c2, and knight d7. He wants to take some pieces, you see. So he has a weakness. The pawn from b5 is weak. He has to be very careful with this pawn there, you know. So, of course, now if I could take in d7, but it's not enough. It's better for white, but probably not enough. So knight c8 is a very strong move, and now he played bishop f6, of course, it doesn't give the pawn. And now knight a7. We attack the pawn, and we threaten also, after b4, for instance, if he played b4, knight c6 wins. Wins the pawn, attacking the rook. He has no time to go to a5, a8.
Okay.
Because of knight takes e7 check, and he loses the rook.
Yes.
You see?
Okay.
So, all right. So, knight b8, by chance, he has still this move, you know. I mean, he doesn't lose immediately. But okay, he could find this move, but he loses the pawn from b5.
But what is this one doing?
I mean, he doesn't let you to come to c6. If you arrive in c6, it's finished, you see.
Yes.
So, okay, he played knight b8, but I didn't take the pawn because he had some initiative after knight a6. Threatening the rook c8 or knight b4 check, and it's not clear at all what happens. Knight c6 is very strong. Now he has to take, of course, no? And now, with tempo, bishop takes c6. Now what to do here? He gives the pawn for some counterplay, you know, but it's not enough, of course. So d5, bishop takes. Now d4, the only move. Now bishop d2. And now he played bishop d5. And bishop c4, decisive. Every endgame is winning for white now. The best way to do something was now to take in the c4 and play d3 check. But even there is not enough, you see. So after bishop takes, rook takes, d3 check, king d1 must win because of the two passed pawns on the queen side, you know?
Yeah.
Two passed pawns win, you know, you play a4, b4, and so on, you see. And after this move, e5 is still much better for white. I mean, if you compare with the other variation, because now you have time to take. And when he takes, white plays simply king d3, and now he's completely winning, you see. So now king there, and g3, and bishop f4, and a4, and now h5, bishop f4, and black resigned. Black resigned because of the two passed pawns, you see. a4, b4, and so on, goes alone, like this. But it was very interesting because, as I told you, most of the game was home analysis. Well, human, of course, but very interesting, yeah.
Nice.
Without computer, you see. That made the difference, you know.
True.
Because it was grandmaster home analysis, now it's computer home analysis, you see. That makes a very big difference.
True.
But the game, of course, the game is very instructive, you see. How to realize a very small advantage, you see, in every position. The advantage is small, but in all cases, probably enough, you see. If you play well, I mean, the move order is very important. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Gheorghiu.
Well, technique, you know, technique.